My name is Sharon. I am from Hackney, East London. Heritage is Ethiopian. I just graduated from drama school, was in Mount View from 2019. Been acting for a bit of my life. This is my professional debut doing the Lavender Hill Mob, which I'm really excited about. Yeah, that's me.
So yeah, the Lavender Hill Mob, as you say, is the show you're in now. Kind of, can you then tell me in your words what it's about, please?
So it is a very interesting journey of a man who a working class man who decides one day to rob a bank. Um, and although it sounds a bit like oh, rob a bank, come on, it's very quite interesting and smart how he does this and retells the events during the piece.
Yeah, obviously people may know it as the kind of
Yeah,
classic film that kind of from the 50s. Where did
yeah.
kind of your journey with it begin?
So I'd never heard of the Lavender Hill Mob before I auditioned for it. I knew of the Lavender Hill Street, but didn't realize that that was linked to the film or to the play. Um, so yeah, I auditioned for it, watched the film, read the script, and was really just taken away by how funny and ridiculous, but how like heartwarming it is as well. Especially the adaptation and how Phil Porter's just put his own spin onto it as well. So that's been my journey so far and been enjoying it since.
Good, good. And obviously in the show you understudy the three kind of female characters.
Yeah.
How kind of was that process for you?
Tough at first. It's very, all three of the characters are very different from one another. So it's getting yourself into one shoe and into one character's shoes and then learning the lines and learning the movement and learning the movements of things that they move on stage and then get into another headspace and another. But we did some exercises like that at drama school where we would understudy characters in the plays that we were doing. So it wasn't too bad, but still it was very challenging learning that.
And obviously then what's it like that first performance when you're there, ready to go on for that kind of understudy? What's that moment like?
Well, when I did have to go on, I only had about an hour's notice. So it was quite scary at first, quite daunting. But the cast, the stage management was so lovely. We were able to go through bits on the stage. I guess just get into the mindset of, okay, cool, I'm about to do this. What do I need to know? Remember to calm down and, all the drum school techniques, like just laying in semi-supine for a bit. But as I was on stage doing it, it very much I was learning what I was doing as I was doing it. Like even though I was well prepared with like lines and movements, there were some times where I'd get confused by the different character tracks, which was funny. But yeah, just learning as I go.
And I guess kind of in a comedy, it's sometimes the stuff that can be kind of thrown at you that kind of maybe unexpected sometimes. Kind of how's
Yeah.
that to juggle?
Just improvise, really. That's what I've seen that most of the cast do. But I think in a comedy as well, you've got to be so quick thinking. It's not really time to be like, okay, there's a problem. What do we do? You just go and whatever comes out your mouth comes out your mouth, and then you continue. So that's how you go about it.
And obviously, as you touched on at the start, you kind of this is your professional debut coming out of Mount View. Kind of how's that been? Kind of looking back, kind of now to where you've come from.
Looking back, I'm really grateful for the training and actually putting it into use now because I think when you're going through drama school, it's kind of like, oh, why are we doing this? Animal studies. But now that I'm in the context of doing a professional play, I'm like, oh, I can draw upon these things, or if that doesn't work for me, or if the director's way of saying something I don't really understand, I can use what I have already to implement things and help me in my journey. So it's been great. Very different though, being in the industry to drama school. It's very much drama school's a cushion. You got all your friends, family. Then you get into the professional world. You're like, but they've been great. So.
Good, and obviously you've kind of come through training in such a kind of difficult time. Kind of how was it kind of coming through kind of COVID in training?
Um, it was hard. Most of the end of first year and a lot of second year was on Zoom. And then when we got into second year, we also split it in the building as well. It was difficult, but it was still looking back, like I'm glad that we still got to train. I think we can kind of see times like that and be like, oh, like how come I'm not in the building with my people? But the fact that I was still at home and able to get training was amazing, and the teachers and tutors really made that work for us. Still challenging, and I still hate Zoom, but
Yes.
it's still great that we got to train. I can't. Yeah,
Yeah, and obviously this is a world premiere production. How kind of fun is it to create a new show, I suppose?
it's amazing to be part of new writing, to have Phil with us, to that whole process of like being the first cast to do this thing is really great, and I feel honored that I get to be a part of that as well.
And
Yeah.
obviously, as we said earlier, the 50s film kind of stood the test of time. But why do you think this story in particular has had that longevity?
Oh, what a question. I guess it's a classic British history comedy. You can't go wrong. And I guess people can look back to it and there's just joy and fun in it, which stands a lot of things, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. And do you have then a favourite moment or scene within the show?
Favorite moment or scene. I do like the first time that Holland and Pendlebury meet. That is hilarious to me. Um, and when they devise the plan of, oh my goodness, this is what we're going to do. We're going to rob bullion from the Bank of England. That is quite, yeah, a moment.
And then can you describe the show in 3 words, please?
3 words. Boisterous, imaginative, and heartwarming.
Very good. Very good. I ask these 2 questions to everyone I interview.
Okay.
First one being, what was the first piece of theatre that you saw in your life that had a big impact on you?
Ooh, first piece of theatre that I saw in my life. Uh, Quite a few years ago, it was a Brechtian play. I believe it's called in in the Jungle. I might be wrong on that. It's a Brechtian play. I saw it at the Arcola Theatre, and with Brecht, it's very, out there, trying to break the fourth wall and everything. And it made me see theatre in a different light. I was like, oh, but I really enjoyed that. So that was one that's influenced me. Um, was it? Yeah,
Yeah, cool.
yeah.
What does theatre and performing simply mean to you?
Creating and telling stories. That's what it means to me. Creating and telling stories.
Brilliantly put. Brilliantly put. And my final question for you today, simply, why should anyone out there who's not booked already come and see the Lavender Hill Mob?
I think you should come and see the Lavender Hill Mob because it is fun and it takes you away from this world for just an hour and a half to just enjoy and take in what we have to say, what we have to do. It's really fun.
Amazing. Well, Sharon, thank you for your time today. The show is
Thank
coming
you so
back, opening at
much.
Chichester on Monday, the 10th, and then
Yeah.
it's running through until 18th February. And it's visiting various cities up and down the UK.